Now it's time to look at how Americans reacted to the war. Now remember, the search and destroy missions were all about body count, and within the first 3 years, we had killed 186,000 enemy soldiers, while only losing just over 16,000 ourselves. Now that is a huge lopsided victory in our favor, but 16,000 Americans is still a lot to lose. Because of those numbers, however, our president declared that victory was within reach, and in fact was just around the corner. His famous saying was, "We see light at the end of the tunnel." Just after his announcement, our enemy in Vietnam launched what's known as the Tet Offensive. This was an attack in 110 different locations by 84,000 enemy soldiers. The amount of coordination that this required made it look like our enemy was highly organized and highly effective. 90% of the evening news was about the war during the Tet Offensive, and every night Americans saw images from this battle. Some of the most iconic ones include the one seen here. The man in the plaid shirt was one of the Viet Cong attackers captured in the early parts of the Tet Offensive. The guy pointing the gun at his head was one of our allies in South Vietnam. Now, the guy on the left had just lost some of his friends to the Viet Cong, was angry, and decided to execute this man right in the streets without any kind of military tribunal, just a summary execution. The picture was taken just as the trigger was pulled, and so at this moment, the bullet is actually in the man's head. This was also recorded and played on TV. You can find the video on YouTube, but I won't be showing it here today. Images like the ones to the right were also being shown nightly in the evening news. From a military point of view, the Tet Offensive was an unquestionable U.S. victory. The U.S. and our allies regained every inch of lost territory by the end of the battle and killed 69% of all the attacking troops. That is an absolute victory no matter how you cut it. However, at home, the claim of victory being near seemed to be a lie to about 60% of Americans who now disapproved of the war. How could an enemy that's on the verge of defeat coordinate 110 attacks at once with 84,000 troops? In the months after the Tet Offensive, anti-war rallies occurred all over the United States, and even politicians began to speak out against the war. So it was an unquestionable U.S. military victory. However, it was also an unquestionable propaganda victory for the enemy. Now, the rallies that were occurring all over the United States had several common features. One of them was burning the draft cards. All males in the United States, upon turning 18, are required to register for a military draft. I had to do it, and all of you guys in the class will have to do it. In protest, these guys were burning their draft cards, which is illegal. Other common features included peace protests, like the guy in the upper right, the girl in the middle, make love, not war, youth peace walks, and even, as you can see in the bottom down on the bottom right, soldiers marching in protest once they returned from the war. Soldiers who did return from the war did not get the same welcome that our World War II veterans received upon their return home. I'm going to put a link to this clip on the same page as this video so you can watch two veterans explain what it was like to return home from Vietnam.